possible, because I've got the comments open here anyway.
Very good evening. It's Friday evening. Good evening. I am back. Well, not back from isolation, but I'm back and fit and ready to go. I was in my bed last night. I'm in my isolation room at the moment. I'm Dave Smith. To my right is Regan Stevenson. Regan, how are we this Friday evening?
Dave, I'm doing well, thank you, and I'm glad you're finally feeling better now.
That Dens Park pie has a lot to answer for because I got up on Wednesday morning, found out I was positive for coronavirus, and I was like, it's either been that Dens Park pie or I've been in contact with somebody that's tested positive for COVID. But here we are. It's Friday evening, Regan. Let's talk about football and a big weekend up and coming. First and foremost, can Celtic maintain top spot after the weekend fixtures? Fantastic victory on Wednesday night, first and foremost. But I want you to get your reaction to the news about Celtic come out saying that they're going to address the issue regarding Chris Boyd comments made in the papers today.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, I know Chris Boyd pretty well through going in college in Ayrshire, so yeah, I think he's a decent guy, but I think on many occasions with Celtic, he's been a bit overboard there. I mean, there's no need to say that about Callum McGregor's mask. That someone should get close to his mask. I just don't see the purpose of saying it. It's just digging a hole that doesn't need to be digged. If you know what I mean. I find it very baffling. I don't know if he's trying to become this um, figure that wants to be hated by Celtic fans, but I just don't understand it at all. I know people compare him to to Rangers version of Sutton, and this is who he is. He tries to play that character, but like, I'm sorry, there's just no need to say those kind of comments.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at this, it's not tolerated in any form of Scottish football. And being brutally honest with you here, Regan, I think Boyd just looked at it because Rangers were, being honest, very pitiful Wednesday night.
Yeah, I don't know if it's about a sour grapes, but I just find it very strange, Dave, that there's been quite a few incidents over the past couple of years where I think he's been overboard, and quite frankly, I I tend to not tune into this guy half time and full time anymore because I just always feel like he's going to say something that is not very nice. I just don't know if he's got it in for some people, and he just seems to always want to say something controversial that gets people going. I don't know if that's Sky that have this thing where they say, right, we're going to make, because I know he's doing Soccer Saturday as well, Dave. That's right, isn't it? He's
I
doing
think so. I'm not a big soccer fan nowadays, but I think he does, yes.
Yeah, because I see he's doing Soccer Saturday, so obviously Sky are trying to make him this Beyond More program. So yeah, I just don't understand the comments. There's just no need for it, and I think it's a shame because Callum McGregor played such a great game the other night. I don't know. Surely he can be the bigger man and say, well, I think Callum McGregor had a great game and that he was tremendous. But to come out with comments like that, I think Celtic are quite rightly standing up for their player.
Yep, absolutely. On to the football side of things, and apologies if it is a bit dark. I did try and change rooms with about a few minutes to go. And I didn't realise this light was actually very dark, so apologies for that. But wish you could see my face, that's all that matters. But yep, right, Motherwell against Celtic, Regan. Big game on Sunday for both sides of this. Motherwell, of course, were looking to get their season back on track to an extent following a few games where they haven't won, either a few losses or draws. They're against a Celtic side that are ruthless right now, and a side that are consistent in form.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very interesting game, Dave. I think Celtic are on the form of I think Celtic are on very good form at the moment. I think Motherwell they'll be poised from the 1-1 draw at St Mirren Park, scoring that goal in the 90th minute. So I think it's going to be a very interesting game. Obviously, Celtic got the upper hand with a 2-0 victory at Fir Park at the start of the season, but I think it's going to be a tricky fixture for Celtic. I quite like Jordan Roberts, who plays for Motherwell a bit as well. I think he scores some great goals. So Celtic need to be wary of being complacent. But I think this is a game that Celtic will be hoping that they can extend their lead to 4 points here, because as you know, Celtic play at 1:30 and Rangers don't play till 4 p.m. So Celtic can be the ones that will put the pressure all on Rangers.
Yeah, when you look at it from a Motherwell persuasion, there are 2 points clear of Hibs, 4 clear of Dundee and Aberdeen. And a lot of people look at this and look for this potential opportunity for Motherwell to slip up, which would allow Hibs to put pressure, Aberdeen to put pressure, Dundee to put pressure, which means that would create a stinging race for fourth position, even well, not third position, but fourth position definitely is.
Yeah, I mean, Dave, I don't know what your thoughts is on this, but I just think it's very strange in terms of Sean Maloney's team, Stephen Glass's team, right? That they seem to still be in the race for fourth, even though they've been so bad this season. I mean, look at Aberdeen. How many points have they dropped this year? They've dropped so many points and they still seem to be in there. Same with Motherwell, they've dropped so many points, seem to be in there, and you've got um, Sean Maloney's side as well. They got beat 3-2 last weekend, so I think I still I think it's still a bit strange to me that all these teams are still fighting for fourth place when they've not been doing too well in the past few weeks.
See Hibs to St Mirren area of the table. They've all had fantastic periods within their league season where they've picked up fantastic results and had good runs in that period and had some good momentum. Then they've had a wee cutbacks. Maybe they lost to maybe one of the Glasgow teams, or they've maybe picked up a bad defeat somewhere in between the lines. And it's kind of shredded their season to an extent, Regan, where they've went on a terrible run. Because I'll give you a few examples here. Hibs, 8 wins, 7 draws, 9 defeats. Aberdeen game in hand, 8 wins, 5 draws, 10 defeats. Dundee United, same games as Hibs. 8 wins, 5 defeats, 5 draws, beg your pardon, 11 defeats. Which just goes to show you, if you have that predicament in terms of defeats, it's going to, 9 times out of 10, you'll be looking at this and saying you're relegation troubled. But this is far from the case.
Yeah, I mean, like you said there, Dave, it just shows you how tight the Scottish Premiership is, and I think we're going to be in for a great second half of the season. We've got 13 games to go, I think it is, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic for everyone tuned into Scottish football, because that's what we love to see, is Scottish football doing really well. So it's just going to be so good for us to watch.
This is an opportunity for Celtic to put down a marker at Lanarkshire on Sunday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, because if you look at it, I think there's been something like a 10 point swing. Because if you go back to the winter break when it shut down just before Boxing Day, Dave, Celtic were 6 points behind, and if when they played St Johnstone, they could have been 9 points behind Rangers. So it just shows you the turnaround of this, and it's credit to Ange Postecoglou and the players. I mean, there've been times during this period that Celtic have had 7 players out, either through injury or through international call-up, and I think that just shows that the spirit that Ange Postecoglou has got with the squad. Because you look at someone like Greg Taylor, and Dave, that I'm not a big fan of Greg Taylor, but I thought Greg Taylor played fantastic the other night. I really did. I thought he tackled really well. I thought he put in some great balls, and obviously he showed great fighting spirit for the cause as well. So yeah, I thought Greg Taylor had probably his best game for Celtic on Wednesday night.
I think it's a good thing that they've had such a quick turnaround. Celtic, fantastic performance and result Wednesday, good momentum off of that. You can take that into Sunday, and you've not got time to go and work on things in the training grounds. Opportunity to go straight in, get more points on the board.
Yeah, Dave, I totally agree. And for people that didn't see Ange Postecoglou's press conference today, he says that Tom Rogic is back fit as well, Dave, and that can only be good for him as well because, as we know, Tom Rogic, he's been such an important player for Postecoglou, and that's a bad thing for Motherwell because he's going to be a player that they'll need to stop on Sunday. So yeah, everything's coming good for Celtic right now.
Yeah, absolutely. In terms of Tony Watt, they haven't done so already. Transfer window's shut. I mean, from a Liverpool persuasion, they need to buy one fast.
Yeah, they do, but I don't see it come. I don't see it coming on Sunday, to be honest, because of the Celtic standard. But I think Motherwell have got a steady team. I quite like that. What is it? Sean Lattery in midfield.
Yeah, what
Um,
can they take out of the game?
are you talking about the St Mirren game? Or are you talking about the?
No, what can Motherwell take out of the game this Sunday? What do you think they can do to try and
I,
either get a shock or put their own analysis on the game?
someone that I like from Motherwell is Jamie Roberts. And I think he's very good. I think he's a good wide player, and I think that if Motherwell are going to get anything, then he's going to be important for them. Someone else I like is Van Veen. I think I think set pieces is going to be important, Dave, because if you look at Motherwell, I think Van Veen's scored a few set pieces as well. So I think set pieces is going to be important for them. Um, but in terms of Graham Alexander, you can only say what a job he's done so far, and for them to be in the position they are, sitting in fourth place, a chance to play the potential title-winning team in Celtic, and they obviously got through to the last 16 in the Scottish Cup. So I think Graham Alexander will be pretty happy at the moment. He'll just be hoping that they can possibly get a draw, or maybe even get a win.
Yeah. It's actually funny because obviously I'm in isolation, so I'm looking for things to watch right now, Regan. So I watched Graham Alexander's interview with Cy Ferry and Paul Slade today, and I found it very intriguing. What a great football guy Graham Alexander is.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really interesting when you look back because he's played with Burnley in the Premier League. He's been to Salford where he had Neville and Paul Scholes and all that sort of thing, Dave. And obviously he's played the Scotland national team as well. So this is a guy that's been about. He knows what he's doing, and I think potentially he could go into bigger than Motherwell. I know Jenna Thompson won't fit me for that, but he seems like a very shrewd guy, and he seems like someone that's got a lot of intelligence. So yeah, I think it's good that we've got him in Scottish football for the moment because I don't know if you've seen that before, Dave, but I think Neville said to the so on the Salford documentary that getting rid of a manager was his biggest mistake, and the manager that he was talking about was Graham Alexander.
Yeah. As for Celtic, fantastic win the other night, but I don't know if you agree. I think Celtic still have levels to reach.
Yeah,
I'll
Dave.
ask you another question. On you go. Sorry, on you go.
I totally agree. I mean, Celtic were superb the other night. I was lucky enough to be there. I thought they were fantastic. I mean, they've been playing like this all year. I've heard people saying that Celtic played really well tonight on Wednesday night. They've been playing this well all season. They've been blowing teams away. And I think it just shows you the intensity that Ange Postecoglou is playing at. A certain Celtic manager said to the press yesterday that he said that I bet a lot of Celtic fans are regretting about the protests. Now, for me as one, like I just wish that they brought Ange Postecoglou in quicker because he's just been a breath of fresh air for Scottish football, Dave. It's been absolutely fantastic, and I mean, it's just so good to see Celtic playing really well. I mean, some of the signings that they brought in have just been superb. I mean, you look at it and you think, if they got Eddie Howe as manager, then they wouldn't have got Ray Hatate, Matt O'Reilly, um, Maeda, who's the top goal scorer in Japan, Kyogo. So I'm really happy that they've managed to dodge the bullet and Eddie Howe and secure Ange Postecoglou. And if Celtic are listening to this show, which I hope they would be, because it's one of the best shows in Scottish football, Dave, then I would give Ange Postecoglou a bigger deal because he's only on a 12-month rolling contract. Is that correct, Dave? Aye.
Yeah, yes, I don't want to draw premature parallels here, but I think he's up there with Brendan Rodgers in terms of philosophy, but also in terms of how Ange Postecoglou is so forward thinking. Rodgers was a bit more patient.
Yeah, Dave, I'm going to be honest. Something I did love about Ange the other night, and people can talk about it in the comments and other stuff. But what I did love with Ange was his interview with the radio after it, and it was just really nice when he said, I hope that I brought some joy to the fans, and I hope that if they're going through troubles in their life, they can they can forget about it and come here, and we can make them feel special. You know, it's that kind of thing where I go, this guy's not just a good manager, he's a good person as well, and
Mhm.
that just really touched me because as much as you're going through bad things in life, football can be a real leveler and make people happy. So I thought that was really good. Yeah, but like you said, Brendan Rodgers and Brendan Rodgers was there last weekend at Celtic Park, and I think Ange Postecoglou is definitely on his way to doing something similar to what he's done. Dave, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. 1:30 kick off this on Sunday. Regan, what are we thinking from Fir Park? Motherwell against Celtic.
I'm going to go Motherwell 1, Celtic 3.
I'm going to go Celtic keep a clean sheet. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to go for a pretty dominating and positive performance. I'm waiting for Graham Alexander to knock at my door on Sunday night. But here we go. Let's go to the Blue Sea of Ibrox for Rangers against Hearts. The 4 o'clock kick-off. And I think it'll be better to have a Sunday roast instead of this one. I'm only joking. Rangers against Hearts. It promises to be an exciting game, this one.
Yeah, it does, Dave. The interesting thing for me will be is that John Suter will start because I heard Robbie talking to a radio station the other night and he said, I can guarantee you that John Suter will start if he's 100% fit. And to me, I'm just interested to how John Suter reacts to this because I don't know how you feel, Dave, but I remember when Caldwell played at Easter Road when he signed for Celtics, and it didn't go down well. So I'm just looking forward to seeing the Ibrox crowd with John Suter because it'll be interesting.
I know if I was Robbie Nielsen, I wouldn't play him. Also, well, I look at this in two ways. I look at this by saying that I don't think he should be risked in playing him, Robbie Nielsen. And also, Hearts have built up a sustainable lead in third position at the minute. I think the top two is out with their means right now, which means this is a free hit for Hearts in a way.
Yeah, as a free hit, but I don't like the tactics of Robin Nielsen. It was laid bare against Celtic last week. People know that I'm a Celtic supporter, but I'm always balancing the game. And I thought Hearts' approach to the game, Dave, was very wrong. I thought they let Celtic dominate the ball. They didn't get anywhere near them. Um, I thought for the first 45 minutes, Celtic were just immense. And people can say Celtic were immense because they done really well, but at the same time, I think Hearts didn't really offer much. I think once Robbie Nielsen, this is my observation, Dave, and you can put me up on it. I think once Hearts go a few goals down, that's when they start to go right. We need to try and get something back here, and that's see for me that's not the attitude of a Hearts manager. They need to go and they need to press Celtic and press Rangers from the get go. I think that's what Hearts did well against Rangers at Tynecastle in the previous game. They they pressed them really well, and there should have been 2 goals up right away against Rangers at Tynecastle. But thanks to Alan McGregor, Rangers stayed at 0-0, and then they got the 2-0 win, obviously. But I think Robbie just needs to go for it. What is the point of Hearts sitting back and losing 3-0? They need to go for it. They've got some really good players, such as Boyce, Craig Gordon, Kingsley. I could write them off. Barry Mackay, Josh Gianelli. They've got so many good players, Dave, and I just think that they're too negative what Robbie Nielsen does because they've got a really good team and need to go and express themselves at places such as Celtic Park and Ibrox.
Well, I mean, Hearts went to Ibrox the last time and were agreed to come away with a point, which shows the mentality is slowly but surely changing.
Yeah, I do agree with that, Dave. But if you actually watch the majority of the game, I think it was more of a smash and grab. It was
Yeah.
Hars got a corner in the last minute and scored through Craig Halkett. Where uh, I would like to see Hearts go there and dominate
Give it a
and
go.
not dominate the ball, but have shots at goal. Like I watched Hearts go there a couple of years ago and lose 3 or 4 goals, and then start knocking the ball around. Like I want them to go there and express themselves, try and get Boyce and Janelli on the ball, and maybe cause an upset or maybe get a draw because they've got a squad there that can do well, Dave. But in terms of Rangers, it's going to be interesting to see how they can bounce back because that was a damaging defeat.
Yeah. How do Rangers respond?
They need to respond big, Dave. They can't afford any slip ups. I said this on a different radio station on a number of occasions this week. I just feel they need someone in there with a Scottish voice. I don't think Gio Van Bronckhorst has got the mentality for Rangers Football Club. I don't like. I've watched him the last couple of times. He seemed happy to get away from Aberdeen with a point. He seemed happy to get away from Ross County with a point. And the way he speaks after interviews is alarming for me. He doesn't seem. See when you watched Gerard last year, Gerard was very animated. I don't see the same with Gio Van Bronckhorst.
Yeah, totally. When we look at this game, uh, you look at it by saying the reaction support from the hosts. Also, can Hearts create their own stance and things? I think if the latter happens, there is the possibility that Hearts can get a result.
Yeah, I mean,
Hearts is like a jammy dodger, right? It could be brilliant one day where you eat the jammy dodger and it's absolutely wonderful. Or you can have the jammy dodger on the other hand and it just doesn't taste great. It depends what Hearts turn up.
yeah, I mean, Johnny Boy Graham on the comments, David say Hearts will be confident the way the Rangers played on Wednesday against Celtic, and I totally agree with that because if you look at um, Rangers on Wednesday, I just think they looked scared, they looked frightened. I thought Barisic is one of his worst games for s- for Rangers, and I think the alarming thing for me was a lot of Rangers fans, and I know a lot of them, and they were saying to me, well, we're so glad Joe Aribo is playing in this game. And I don't think Joe Aribo was playing, Dave. Was Joe Aribo there? He didn't turn up.
I don't think he was, no.
I don't understand the the actual um the popularity for Joe at the moment because I think as much as he comes up with his moments of quality at time castle and stuff. I think even the performances of him have been really lackluster. And Dave, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Tavernier is a captain. We watched him on Wednesday night. You've got Callum McGregor playing with 2 broken cheekbones, and you've got Tavernier who lets Juranovic and Matt O'Reilly run over the top of him at every opportunity. You know, I just don't think the guy is has got the mentality. I really don't. And the sooner Rangers address that, the better for them. But I just don't think he's captain material.
I understand the Daily Record's not everybody's cup of tea, but thankfully they do provide some good content from press conferences. There was a question asked to Van Bronckhorst today in the presser. The team doesn't seem to be playing with intensity. Are you not expansive enough? And Van Bronckhorst replied Regan by saying, "What do you mean by expansive?"
Yeah, that's what I mean, Dave. I don't. That's what I mean when I said spoke about a Scottish coach. I don't think he realizes that um, when you go to Ibrox and you play against Hearts, and you play against Livingston or whoever, you need to put on a show for the fans. I mean, you go to the Ibrox last week.
They're paying good money to go.
I mean, you go to Ibrox last week, Dave, and you watch that game, right? Rangers are expecting to beat Livingston by 3 or 4 goals, and they got a goal in the last 10 minutes. No, it was a fantastic goal. I'm taking nothing away from them. But if you're Rangers, surely you're expecting to blow Livingston away. Now that this is not me having a disrespect at David Martindale, but I don't think that Livingston are out in great shakes. You know, they just got beaten by bottom of the table St Johnson, who St Johnson couldn't buy a win all year, and they were. I mean, they went to the famous Tony Macaroni Arena and they beat them by 2 goals to 1. And fair play to them, but I just think Rangers should be sweeping sides away. And I think if you're Rangers, Dave, and you're Rangers fans listening to this programme and hearing that comment, then you're going to be totally worried with the comments because Rangers should be blowing these teams away. And I think that's great. Um, in terms of the Broncos, like everybody's saying he's not lost a game. Yeah, but if you actually look at the context of him not losing a game, right now, one of his first games was away to Easter Road. They got a last, they got a 90, a 86-minute penalty to win that game through through a tackle through Porteous at Easter Road. You know that could have easily been more drop points. Then you've got a couple of a couple of do- a couple of close games at Ibrox, and Dave, like I don't know about you, but I just feel Van Bronckhorst's system compared to Gerrard is a lot more on the back foot and not as
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, with Gerrard, they were a side that like to play in the front foot. I mean, you got like Hadji. I mean, Hadji's been doing okay under Van Bronckhorst. Nothing exciting. Hadji was a better player than Gerrard, I think. Same to an extent with Ryan Kent. Ryan Kent's going completely off the boil under GVB, and GVB was actually, funnily enough, asked about this. Well, he was asked a couple of questions in relation to Wednesday night. First one was, you said after the match players didn't follow your game plan. Wednesday teach you a lot about which players you can trust for the rest of the season. And he said, what I said with the game plan, we gave 2 goals away. The second and third ones just was the sight of your opponent, not tracking back in tempo, not closing the lines. That's the basics you have to win games of football to be strong as a team. Those things you have to improve. But the thing is, Regan, is they're just getting past Livingston. They're conceding a 95th minute goal in Ross County, and they're getting absolutely bamboozled off the park by Celtic in the first half on Wednesday night.
yeah. I mean, Dave, I was there, right, I said to my friend beside me, I thought it could have been 6-0 to Celtic in the first half, and that's no taking away to are what Rangers have done as a team this season. You know, you've got that save from Giakoumakis from McGregor. You've got Matt O'Reilly had a chance. You've got the so many chances that they had. I mean, it could have been 5 or 6 at half time.
Yeah, this is a game for Rangers to get the action, and they need one fast.
Yeah, I mean, someone in the comments, David, I just wanted to bring up. Uh,
Was it with Steve Davis?
D Boyle says, I believe if
Right.
Rangers don't play Steve Davis, they are poor. And I totally agree with that. I don't know about you, Dave, but I think when you watch um, Darlow, I think it is Darlow Ahmed. Now, this is a guy that was brought in for 37 million from Man U, right?
Oh, is this guy that's on TikTok? This is guy that's on TikTok put up videos after a free draw away in Ross County.
Yeah, I think I've seen that on Twitter, Dave, because I'm not a user on TikTok. So anybody looking for me on TikTok, I'm not on there. But yeah, other, other other social media outlets are available. But in terms of Dallo, I think I don't think he was the man made for the Old Firm game. I think they should have brought in someone like a Jack who come on there on Wednesday and played a very good game. You know, I, I I don't understand why they played too many expansive players. I understand that Joe Aribo um and a lot of the players they had on were more attacking threats, and they thought, right, we'll just go for this. But I don't think it was the right approach from Gio, because if you look at it, Celtic just ran straight over the top of them. And I know that there's two more games to go, but if you actually, there's two more Glasgow derbies to go. But if you look at the overall picture of the first Glasgow derby at Ibrox, I thought Celtic played really well in that game as well. So, and if it wasn't for Archie Edward wanting away to Crystal Palace, he probably would have put two goals in the back of the net, because he missed one clear chance and he missed another. So I just think that Rangers need to be more secure. I do think they'll be better when they do have Stephen Davis and Ryan Jack back in that midfield. But I think it's worrying times, because if you look at Rangers, right now, I know he scored against Stirling Albion last week, and he scored a fantastic goal in Europe a couple of years ago. But if your backup striker is Cedric Eaton, now come on, now Dave, I'm sorry that the guy wouldn't I don't think he would get a game for a local team down the park. You know, I just watch him and I say, what does this guy offer?
Absolutely.
You know, because I don't think he's the guy that is going to take Rangers to the title. I think Celtic have got more match winners in their team, and I think that's a credit to Ange Postecoglou. But in terms of this game on Sunday, I think it's going to be important for Rangers to get that early goal to settle the nerves, because you look at Rangers, right? If they go to 60 or 65 minutes in this game and it's still 0-0, the fans will start to go in their back, and we know when they got in their back, we had James Tavernier saying that um, the players struggle and all this kind of thing in the match program. So it's just it's going to be a difficult game for Rangers, and I'm looking forward to watching it, because it's going to be interesting to see how Robbie Nielsen approaches it.
Yep. Score predictions for Ibrox then. I'm going to go. It's going to be close, but I'm going to go for a draw here. One each.
Oh, right. Well, I'm going to go 2-1 to Rangers.
Fantastic. Right, we are slowly but surely coming call of the time. We will go to Perth for a Tayside derby between St Johnstone and Dundee United. Dundee United looking for a win. They've picked up a bit of a resurgence of late with the draw in the Dundee derby, beating Ross County, and they beat Kilmarnock in the Cup, obviously. But they're up against the St Johnstone side that just picked up a first win in a very, very long time on Tuesday at Livingston. So it promises to be an exciting game, this.
Yeah, it does, Dave, because if you look at Dundee United, even though they're still in a great position in the table, I think it's worrying, because it's no wins in 8 for them now, and I think in terms of Tam Courts, he'll just looking to get back to basics, and in terms of St Johnson, they'll just be desperate to get back on that park, because they got a 90-minute winner at the Tony Macaroni, as I said earlier, and they'll just be hoping that they can bounce back and get another 3 points, because St Johnson will be looking over their shoulder at Livingston losing, and also seeing that Ross County have picked up as well, and thinking we need to pick up some more points. So it's going to be an intriguing game.
I mean, St Johnstone, they had the upper hand over Dundee the last time. But prior to that win on Tuesday, St Johnstone had won a league martyrs before then. The last victory prior to Tuesday was that 1-0 victory at Tannadice.
Yeah, I mean it's been a terrible season so far for Callum Davidson, but fair play to Steve Brown and the St Johnson board, because they've stuck by him and have shown that what loyalty they have for him, because obviously he's a great manager and he's proved it last year with the 2 trophies. with St Johnstone being the second most successful club in Scotland in the last couple of years. So yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one because Callum Davidson just be hoping that he gets a little rub of the green, and they'll be hoping that they can really push on now and secure that secure another 3 points for them because it's very important at this stage of the season with 13 games to go for them now.
Now, I didn't get Tom Court's press cuttings from today, but I got Carl Davidson's in his review on it. Now, your chief chair will be back to action soon.
Yeah, I think Nadia Chifty will be a very good addition because if you look at them, I think he played well at time capsule. I watched that game. I think he had a chance with Craig Gordon, and I think he'll go on to show his class in the last couple of games for them. So we'll be hoping to get back to fitness as soon as possible.
I think with St Johnstone as well, they're showing a bit of a know-how about them. I mean, St Johnstone hadn't been fighting in it for a very long time. Like Ali Crawford is coming from some justified criticism. I thought he was brilliant Tuesday night.
Yeah, David did come in for some criticism, but he proved what a good player he can be for them, and he's just showing that he's a very capable player. But he doesn't. I think one of the reasons, for no disrespect to St Johnson, I think one of the reasons why St Johnson are at the bottom of the league is because people like Ali Crawford don't do it often enough. People like Ali Crawford and Michael Halloran and Nadia Chifty should be doing it all the time for St Johnson, but they're not. So yeah, I'm just hoping for St Johnson fans listening to this that they can pick up some form because it's very important for them, Dave. Because I hope now they can go on a run and I think hopefully the St Johnson fans will be hoping that they can really push on now and show what they're made of in terms of what they done last year, picking up the two trophies.
As for Dundee United, they played three up top on Tuesday. I thought it was a solid lineup from Tom Courts for playing McNulty, Watt, and Clark up front together, essentially. But that needs to be resulted in goals. And Dundee United haven't scored enough goals lately. They've scored enough goals to win games of football, but that's because they've been tight at the other end of the pitch.
No, Dave, I think you're spot on there, but I think Tam Coates will be pretty satisfied getting the 4 points from his last two games with getting that win against Ross County in the last minute. Um, yeah, I think that was important for them and getting that draw um, against Dundee the other night. But like you said, they're missing a lot of chances, and they missed a big one through Nicky Clark. And if they put that in the back of the net, then it could have been totally different. So I think from Tam Courts, he'll just be hoping that the old top goal scorer of the Premiership, Tony Watt, can get back to some sort of form and they can push back up that league.
This is the thing with Dundee United. Nobody will know about what they're going to, what their dynamic or what their transition play is going to be like. There'll be a sign of a lot of good attacking and a lot of good young talent in their team. But I found in the midfield area on Tuesday they were found exposed with no Jarno Fuchs.
Yeah, but in terms of Dundee United, I think he's been a good seventh for them, and he's probably thought, well, I can down here and triple my money and probably could go into the championship if Peterborough do well. And I know that their chairman is it Dara, the Irish guy. He
Yeah,
he, he seems to do a lot of dealings up here. Obviously, it was speculated last year that Ivan Toney would go from Peterborough to Celtic, so he knows what the Scottish market is all about, and he's showing that because he's come up and shown that he can bring one of Scotland's best players, in my opinion, because I think he's a quality player, and I'm surprised that someone like Aberdeen or maybe even Sean Maloney didn't plunge to get him in the last couple of days of the window.
yeah. I mean, I look at this by saying Charlie Adam and Sean Byron got a lot of joy in the midfield area on Tuesday night. And I think that was because Butcher was isolated and Fuchs was obviously no longer at the club.
Yeah, Dave, I just want to ask you something. I've been impressed with Declan Glass. He obviously scored a great goal a couple of weeks ago against Sean Maloney's side when they got beat. Are you surprised that he's went out on loan to Derek McInnes?
Yeah, Tom Court's kind of discussed why in the paper today, I noticed, but I think it's because Declan Glass has been wanting more game time by the sounds of it, but to me, that's kind of papering over the cracks to an extent because I look at this by saying Declan Glass is your potential next up and coming player. He's not a player that should be going out on loan and coming back. I mean, if he is a player that you loan out and then come back, brilliant. But then Declan Glass has had quite a few loan stints now. He's been out on loan at Cove Rangers, he's been out on loan at Partick Thistle, Airdrie. He's had a few loan stints now. And you do fear that the bigger the accumulation of loan spells, the jeopardy in that player's future. And as much as Tom Courts is saying, I've got a good relationship with Declan Glass and I'm going to make sure he gets first team opportunities next season, saying words is another thing to action. It's good. It's good speaking about things, but you've got to put action into proposition. And if that happens, brilliant, sorry. But if not, then there'll be a lot of questions asked, understandably, yes.
Yeah, I mean, especially because he's been playing well for them this year. And obviously, Tam Courts has said that he's wanting to bring through some young players. I'm just surprised, but fair play to Derek. And obviously, Derek's brought in, is it Campbell from Aberdeen as
He
well?
Campbell, he's a good player as well.
I'm surprised that Campbell's went because I think for me, Dean Campbell is he was playing against Rangers last week for the last 20 minutes, so I'm surprised that well, if there being five subs, Stephen Glass has let him go.
I think the Montgomery one was a springboard. I think that Andy Montgomery joining Aberdeen was a springboard.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that they didn't bulk up in the middle of the park. I managed to see the Aberdeen game on Tuesday, and I thought the Dutch guy was very, very good. I managed to see the game live, and I thought he was good. Thought he played. Thought he's got a couple of nice touches. He puts a good ball in as well, and he looks pretty strong to me as well, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Perth, what we thinking? St Johnstone against Dundee United.
I'm going to go 2-0 St Johnstone.
I fancy United to nick this one 2-1 Dundee United.
Dave, that'll be me talking to you tomorrow when all my predictions are wrong. But for the people listening, just to say, I did predict that Ross County would get a draw at home to Rangers last week.
Well played, Regan, well played. Right, off to the capital. Hibs gets St Mirren. A big game for both sides, this.
Yeah, it's a big game because St Mirren will be looking at the the last gasp goal the from the 1-1 draw the other night, and they'll be looking going, we totally dominated that game against Motherwell. You know, I was switching between this game and I was thinking to myself, if St Mirren don't get a second goal here and put this game to bed, they'll be thinking, what are we doing here? Because they totally dominated the game, Dave. And for Jim Goodwin, he'll just be absolutely sick when that goal went in. I don't know if you've seen his reaction, but he was just totally sick when he seen the reaction go in for the goal. And obviously, it was a great finish from Ross Tierney, but for his point of view, he'll just be totally gutted, and he'll be looking to put that right on at the weekend with a good win against Sean Maloney's side. I think this is probably going to be the big game of the weekend in the Scottish Premiership, outside of um, of Rangers against Hearts, because if you look at it, it's a very evenly matched game with a lot of players on the pitch who can do really good things. I like Connor Ronan. I like Joe Newell. They've got a lot of good players on show here. and I'm just looking forward to seeing Jim Goodwin up against Sean Maloney because it's two teams that like to play really good football as well.
It's funny about St Mirren because as St Mirren turn draws into wins, they've been battling with Hearts for fourth, or they've been Motherwell's position at present.
Yeah, because it's actually quite funny in this aspect because they've not lost that many games. I think they've lost same amount of games as
Nine,
Celtic.
nine, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they've. Yep, and they've they've seemed to draw a lot of games, Dave. Um, apart from the Aberdeen game, obviously, because it was a sensational goal from Conor Ronan. But apart from that, they just seem to draw a lot of games. But yeah, I think they're a good team to watch. Jim Goodwin's got them set up well, and they're very hard to beat. They've got a good goalkeeper in Jack Hannock. They've got Jamie McGrath. Yeah, I think, like I said, they've got Conor Ronan. I think they've got a really good squad there, and Jim Goodwin seems to get a lot out of them. Someone I've been impressed with a lot as well this season is Greg. Is it Kilty? Been impressed with
Yeah,
Greg.
guilty.
Yeah, I think he's been fantastic for them. He was really good against Dundee United when they played them away from home. When he set up that sensational goal from Jay Henderson, Dave, I thought they played really well that day as well. Someone I've been surprised that it's not done so well in Paisley is Brophy. 'Cause I thought Brophy has been really good for Steve Clark when he was at Ayrshire. So yeah, I'm just really looking forward to seeing this game tomorrow because St against Hibs is going to be really interesting.
I think it'll be interesting as well because we've yet to find out the Hibs chapter without Martin Boyle. We've yet to find out the correct complexity of Hibs without Martin Boyle.
Yeah, I mean, did they bring in anyone to secure that position after they left?
David Mitchell, but it's not like for like replacement.
No, he was the guy that said who is Hibs, remember? In the
Aye.
paper all those years ago. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange situation. But one thing I just want to touch on Sean Maloney's squad is the goalkeeper the
Dabrowski.
yeah yep. He said that he waited for his chance, and I think he's been waiting something like 5 years for his for first team debut for Hibs. And I
Yeah,
just
he was
want,
alone at the Barter. Did very well on Tuesday.
yeah, I mean, I just love to see stories like that because he's obviously been there from a young age. He was speaking on the radio about leaving his family at home in a different country. He's been over here trying new things, and he obviously sees himself doing well there. And I'm just glad to see him get his opportunity. I think it's important for Sean Maloney that he starts to put his input on this team. Dave, I want to ask you something, right? As much as Sean Maloney loves to play football and tries his best, surely the important thing for him at the moment is to try and just find ways to get results. Because as you know, in Scottish football, you've reported on it and commentated on it for years, and you know Scottish football is very tough. It's not about playing football; it's about making sure you get the 3 points. And Sean Maloney will be judged on that. Will not be judged on how well his team's playing football. They'll be judged on how many 3 points they get. I just think it's important that they go back to basics.
Yeah, well, I think if you manage any football club in the Premiership, in particular a Glasgow and an Edinburgh club, you're under pressure immediately because these fans have high expectations about these clubs. I mean, Carfro, I'm not drawing parallels here, but Carfro got off to a terrible start at Hearts. That was it. Under pressure, couldn't respond. Now, I'm not saying this will happen to Maloney because Maloney's teams are completely different. I watched them at Tarlis and they were brilliant. High press, not giving United a chance. The break came at a bad time because they had another terrific performance the Wednesday prior against Aberdeen. Then Boyle goes, stole a win against Cove. Not great afterwards. 0-0 boring against Motherwell, which means, and then another 0-0 against Hearts on Tuesday, which means that tomorrow is a massive game for Hibs now. in terms of their season. It's not season defined by any stretch of imagination. What it is for Hibs is an opportunity just to rubber stamp and kickstart their season again. Because
Yeah,
they've done well. They've hit a wee blip in the Halloween type-ish period, but then they need to start that fine consistency again.
David, it's like we spoke about ill on the show, right? Sean Maloney's side need to go there and get the 3 points because if you look at it, you've got Robbie Nielsen's side who are ahead of them. Go to Ibrox. You've got Motherwell who are playing Celtic, and you expect Rangers and Celtic to both win. Then you go along to Dundee United who are currently in ahead of them in fifth place, and you say, well, St Johnstone will give them a difficult game. So if you're Hibs, you're hoping that all those teams lose, and then you can slot into that fourth place. So I think for Sean, it's so important, not just um, physically did they get the result, but also mentally for the squad to believe in his ideas and to believe what him and his coaching staff are doing. Because Dave, as much as winning can be a habit, I've said on this program before, so can losing. Because if they start to play lovely football and get beat all the time, the fans won't put up for that. I mean, look at Jack Ross. Jack Ross got to a cup final, and he was on. I think he was on Go Radio the other week saying that he didn't even watch the cup final because he was that distraught that Ron Gordon had attacked him. You know, I was just surprised that he said that because this is a squad that he got to the final, but obviously Jack Ross took that bad because he felt he was taking the squad in the right way. So as much as you're playing good football, it's about getting 3 points for Sean Maloney. If it comes through on that soccer Saturday, ticker tape tomorrow that it's 1-0 to Hibs, 90 minutes. That's all the fans will be caring about.
Yeah, and I do fancy Hibs to win 2-0 tomorrow. What about yourself?
I'm gonna put my neck on the line and say 2-1 St Mirren.
I'm a big one for the Buddies indeed. Right, we are going to go across the M8, yeah? Aye. Across the M8 to Livingston. Livingston is Aberdeen. Aberdeen don't have a great record at Livingston, but they won there early in the season, and they need another big win tomorrow. They only have 2 away wins away from home this season. One of them was Livingston.
Yeah, Dave, I remember it when everyone was going.
So
When
Aberdeen
everyone,
won the league.
yeah, when everyone was going crazy because they went on the pitch, but everyone seemed to go crazy and moan about it. I quite enjoyed it because it was the first time post COVID that everyone got back in the football and enjoyed
Yeah.
themselves. So yeah, it was just so good to see the fans back in there. Obviously, it was a Stryek clanger when he misjudged the ball and the ball fell in the net. But from Aberdeen's point of view, if it happens again tomorrow, they won't be caring because someone I just want to touch on, Dave, is Bruce Anderson. He he always seems to get up for the occasion when he plays Aberdeen because obviously that's the team he supports. That was the team he was let go by. So we'd be hoping to go there, Bruce Anderson, and really put on a show and show Stephen Glass and show Dave Cormack and show the Aberdeen supporters what exactly they are missing.
I don't think he left on good terms by all accounts. I think that's why.
Yeah, and I think David Martindale's really put an arm around him and done well. You know that I'm not a big fan of Livingston because of the park and because I don't like football to be played.
I know, Regan, sorry, I know the family very well. They say that Martindale's a real family man, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just he seems to have really got put an arm around him and said, look, if you score the goals here, then you're going to be loved by the two fans in its dog here. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, if you look at this game in the context, I think it's important for both managers because, like I've said earlier, I expect St Johnstone to beat Dundee United. So if you go by that notion, Dave, then you would say to yourself, um, I think David Martindale will be saying to himself, we need to get 3 points because if Livingston if they lose tomorrow, but also St Johnstone gain on them, then Livingston could be brought back into the scrap again. So it just shows you how tight this league is, and it's so good for us to watch.
I think Aberdeen need the 3 points more than Livingston, though. Stephen Glass will be under enormous pressure if he doesn't win this tomorrow.
Yeah, especially because I know you'll not be writing it off, Dave, but especially when Celtic come to town, because when it goes to Wednesday, I expect Celtic to get all 3 points on Wednesday. So if you're Stephen Glass, you'll be saying, right, we need to get the 3 points tomorrow, so that if we lose on Wednesday, it's not a total embarrassment. But I think that someone like Lewis Ferguson and even Scott Brown, those guys need to stay together now because they've got a difficult period coming up, and I think the worrying aspect for Stephen Glass is he's not really got that same energy that he had at the start of the season. Might that be, Dave, that they've not really invested in the transfer market? Because we did see in the market that they were obviously looking for a wide player to replace Hedges. They got rid of
What's
Niall.
an interesting conversation about this in social media? Jimmy McGrath's obviously linked with Aberdeen. Now, if he's went to Wigan for more money, I think that answers a lot of questions, or raises a lot of questions, or raises a lot of alarms in the doldrums of Aberdeen Football Club right now.
Yeah, and this is no credit to Aberdeen, right? But Aberdeen should be attracting a player over Wigan. But I think it just shows you the demise of Aberdeen and obviously the money of Wigan. Did Jamie McGrath go to Wigan, Dave? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair play to him. I've been to Wigan. It's they're actually not a big football place. I've been to the
no,
stadium.
it's more a rugby place, I think.
Yeah, because I've been to the stadium when they won the FA Cup. I passed by it and got my photo with the FA Cup. Um, but s- if he's choosing to go to a rugby town, as you said, Dave, over a football place in Aberdeen, I think it just shows where Stephen Glass is and where Scottish football is as a whole. That someone can choose Wigan Athletic over Aberdeen Football Club, who were in the European Cup finals under Sir Alex Ferguson and beating Real Madrid and Bayern Munich and all these teams. Uh, like it just shows you the demise. But in terms of that game, I'm going to go 2-0 to Aberdeen.
Fancy a draw, they give one each. And then finally, this only deserves 2 minutes. Dundee Ross County. It's one where Dundee need goals, they need wins, but they're up against a Ross County side who are fine just now. Fine. Regan Charles Cook knows where the goal is. Ross County pick up some big results right now as well.
Yeah, Dave. I know that sounds bad, but I think that's a game I would want to watch tomorrow because if you look at Dundee, I think they were impressive on Wednesday. They probably should have scored through Zach Rudden. For people that didn't see the game, he had a good chance in the first half when I watched the game live. But um, yeah, I think Ross County have shown the past few weeks the reason why they're my second team because they're so good to watch. I watched them against Aberdeen during the week again. They scored a great goal for Ross Callahan. They've been playing really well. They've drew with Rangers. They almost drew with Celtic. Celtic scored in 90 plus 7 minutes. They beat Hibs. They've just they beat Motherwell with 10 men, 3-1. They've got so many good results and they've been so impressive. So I think for Malky Mackay, he'll just be hoping that they can build on what they're doing. But it's a credit to him and a credit to the players because, like you say, for for Regan Charles Cook to be top of that scoring charts is a credit to Malky showing faith showing faith in him, but also for Regan Charles Cook for doing it for Ross County because he's been sensational this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, it's almost time for Coronation Street and almost time for Emmerdale. I won't be watching neither, Regan. I'm looking forward to both. It's Kilmarnock on the telly tonight. Will you watching the both as well?
Yeah, Dave, I've been watching that because it's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, you've got
Right, it's gonna get you.
obviously you've got two good managers, Derek against Dick. So it's going to be interesting who can come out on top. Um, because if you think about it, I think They've had a great season at Bro, and obviously it's a very difficult place to go. So I think for Derek, he'll just be hoping that they can get up back home and get the 3 points because I think the Championship's just a great league to watch, and it's a great advert for Scottish football. And fair play to the BBC for putting it on because it's about time that they showed how good the Championship is. I mean, I watched the game last week, Morton against Rafe, and I thought that was a very good game as well. And yeah, I'm just really happy with it. I think that's going to be a difficult one, but I'm going to go 3-2 to Kilmarnock.
Well, I'm going to go for a draw here. I'm going to go one each.
David, I think you better get the splinters out, mate. You've been sitting on the fence all night, mate.
I'm in isolation, I suppose, so it's fine.
Thank
Right. Thanks very much, guys. We'll be back on Monday. Cheers.
you, guys.